this week's topic is: should the Z fighters teach humans how to use ki? What do you think?
My first thought would be no.
Oh,
I think it's literally giving a child a gun and hoping for the best.
well, that is America,
Like,
so your point.
um, yeah, like if you look at Videl, like Gohan trained Videl, and but Videl was a trained crime fighter. She'd proven herself that she doesn't mishandle power that she has
Hmm.
to a degree. Um, and I think basically, if you just train anybody you like, you don't know what the person's going to do with that power once they become powerful. They may be quite introverts and everything when they're just a standard person, but if you make someone incredibly powerful, they can abuse that power quite easily. And once you start them on that path and they understand how to wield ki, there's nothing really stopping them from developing that as far as they can go. And I would say that's very dangerous.
To an extent, I guess, because if you think about it, even in the show, how many humans is there that know ki? There's Krillin, Yamcha, Tien, Videl. Is that it? Roshi is Roshi.
There's not many to say the least. The rest
Yeah,
are all hybrid Saiyans or Saiyans.
exactly. And we've kind of established that humans are definitely weaker than Namekians and Saiyans. And as far as we know, they're going to be around for forever, pretty much. So even if a human does learn how to master ki and starts becoming a bit evil with it, they're just going to be stopped pretty easily. Do you not think?
I mean, that's just, yeah, but that's very much assumption. It's how someone masters the key and how effective they can become with it,
Hmm.
how easily they learn it, how attuned they become to it. If they basically are like someone that has a latent power, like Gohan, and they
Hmm.
learn how to wield that, they could become a force to be reckoned with. Um, like it could be like a Broly situation where they got this latent power, but they don't know how to access it. And then once they're trained to access it, it could all kick off. I mean, you have to look at the current humans that do wield ki. They're all very pure-hearted at the minute. I know Yamcha was a bit of a miscreant back in the day, but obviously these days um, it's it's basically, yeah, they're all, and that's, if you were to look at that in like a real world situation almost, so many people are not like that. You would end up technically, you could just end up with basically planet Earth could end up another planet Vegeta,
That's
and they
true.
could just end up the same, just militaristic, abusing their powers, becoming brutal because they can. You go down the imperialism route and all this, just they could take it anywhere they want.
They could, but this is where the Saiyans would come into it, I guess, because even though Goku and Vegeta and well everyone I guess is fighting to protect Earth most of the time whenever there's a new big bad, um, if the humans got out of control with it, I'm pretty sure they could step in and be the bad guys, kind of, to kind of get them back under their control. Just be like, calm down, you're taking this a bit too far. Um, because in the show, the only time we see anyone being trained is in Super. Tien has his dojo, I guess, and he's training the monks in the dojo. So, how far is he going to go with that? Is he going to teach them the powers of ki? Probably. Is he going to teach them how to fly, how to do ki blasts, that type of thing? Because if that continues, then there is like this new line of humans who have these special powers. Um, because there isn't many on the show. But just imagine, they had how long? They had a year before the androids appeared back in Dragon Ball Z when Trunks first tells Goku about the androids. They've got a whole year to prepare. It's like, what if they spent that time teaching 1,000 or 10,000 humans how to use ki, would they have just destroyed the androids so much easier? Would this have changed
Yeah, I mean,
Dragon Ball like so much if humans just knew how to use ki because they were trained?
I think, um, I mean, you could put that back to the Saiyan saga, where it was like they knew Goku had a year to get back from Snake Way.
Mm.
So you could apply that logic to a lot of things. But I think a person would have to earn their place to do it. Like Videl, she like Gohan didn't really want to do it. He just didn't really have a choice.
Yeah.
Um, but Videl had, she'd obviously demonstrated that she's not someone to abuse power. Um, and her heart was in the right place. And I think if you have people like that who've earned the right to learn, that's different.
Mm.
Teaching it en masse is more than likely just going to get more people killed, because like look what happened to from the if you look at it from what the Saiyans did to the Z Warriors, Vegeta and Nappa did to the Z Warriors, they ruined them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
um, they so you train all these people over a year. Do you think Vegeta wouldn't hesitate to just drop one energy blast on all of them and wipe out 50 people in one energy blast? If you're going to train these people, you need to like focus them and
Mm.
make one or two powerful, because it's better to have one or two powerful people who can survive these blasts and things like that than have loads of somewhat strong people who are just going to get killed by an energy blast. It's basically like sending loads of people in a bunker with a machine gun. It's like, yeah, you're going to try and overwhelm them, but is it really going to work?
I think maybe it could though. Like, obviously, I think you're on the side of you can't just have random people learn key, which I agree with. But if they kind of figured out a way to decide who they're gonna teach, like if they selected police officers, for example, because they're like the good guys or whatever.
Controversial at a minute.
It is. It is. Or like if they decided to train monks, like Tiana's doing, that type of thing. If
Yeah,
they chose specific people, but like in mass, so there's like 100 or 1,000 humans who they train,
yeah,
and it's like they've selected these people because they think they're worthy to begin with, and
yeah,
they teach them not to abuse the power. These are people of good hearts and stuff, of who are like-minded, who want to protect the world or whatever, who or people who have proved themselves as being worthy future Earth protectors, I guess. They're kind of teaching the next generation of people to save the world or to deal with minor problems, I guess. Um, there could be some sort of hierarchy to it where the main Z fighters are higher up and they deal with the higher level stuff, and these new human fighters come in to deal with low level stuff. Or they're basically kind of like Marvel superheroes, have them in each
yeah.
neighborhood just fighting crime and like being Saiyaman, I guess, as well, but around the world.
Friendly neighborhood Z warrior.
Yeah, exactly. They could be.
Yeah, I think that would be the thing. They'd have to be handpicked. I don't
Yeah.
think you could just train people. I think they'd have to have proven themselves in some capacity,
Mhm.
whether or not that's through past deeds or something like that. But I suppose Z warriors, they can sense good and bad ki, can't they?
Yes.
So there would be a way to tell to a degree.
Mm.
So I think that if it was hand picked and very specific, much like the Vidal thing, like I know, like I've said, he didn't want to do it, but he did. If he genuinely thought Vidal was evil or something like that, or didn't have a good heart, Gohan's smart. Gohan would not have trained her. Um,
Yeah.
so I would definitely say that, as long as, I mean, she was a massive crime fighter. Like everyone knows who Videl was and everything like that. She's got a big helicopter. She's all very impressive, but
Yeah.
she's doing good deeds.
Uh,
Um, and I think that's the sort of thing, like, because also people like Videl can recognize when they're not going to help. Like in the Majin Buu saga, she knew she was holding Gohan behind and everything like that, and so
mhm.
she pulled out. So I think, yeah, you need smart, dedicated, pure-hearted warriors who have been hand selected. And I
Mhm.
think, yeah, okay, because humans aren't going to last forever. I mean, I know they argue that Master Roshi could technically be immortal with
Yeah.
his eating his fruit and everything. But yeah, they don't all have that. Like Krillin, Yamcha, and everything, they're not really doing that.
Mm.
So eventually they will get old and they will die. Saiyans have longer lifespans, but eventually, at some point, they're all going to die,
Exactly.
unless they all go on the Dragon Balls, based on what we were talking about last
Last time, yeah.
episode.
Just live
Yeah,
forever, keep getting
um,
younger, keep living longer. Yeah.
but yeah, there will need to be replacements, uh, world's protectors.
Mm.
So they kind of they don't really have a choice unless they're willing to just give up on the world when
Yeah.
their time comes and hope for the best. But there definitely has to be very strict criteria
Yeah.
in my eyes.
Because, like I said, Tien is kind of doing that with his dojo. He is teaching people. And they didn't really go into much detail about it. You know, there's just Tien and Chaozu up on a mountain somewhere teaching people, like, fights, how to fight, fighting styles, all that type of thing. Maybe he's teaching them how to use ki. It doesn't really show you too much. But I think he has the right idea. He knows what he's doing, and they don't go in depth. But that was just with, like, I don't know how many people were there, maybe like 20 monks or whatever. I can't remember exactly how many was there. But if there was like 1,000, like I said, just think for a second how much Dragon Ball would have changed. Because if you argue that they're even half of the power level of Yamcha, who we everyone is kind of in agreement that Yamcha is probably the weakest Earthling out of the Z Warriors. If every fighter was even just half of that level, but there's 1,000 of them, the Android Saga specifically would have been completely different. Because the
Yeah,
Cell Juniors, you know, people like Yamcha and Tien and Krillin were putting up a fight against the Cell Juniors, and Tien for a little while was dealing with Cell himself pretty well. Um,
yeah,
so imagine if there was another 1,000 fighters. Just, okay, let's all just rush together all at once, deal with it. 18, 17, 16, they would have been dead pretty quickly. And Cell himself would have been open for just Goku, Vegeta, and the main Z fighters to just take down pretty easily, I think. Cell would have had no chance at all.
biggest problem with your theory, however, is they don't do more than one-on-one fights in Dragon Ball.
This is true. This is true.
Just useless.
Yep. It's the same in
Everything's a
any
one-on-one.
It's the same in any fighting film as well that you watch. It's like, okay, there's a
Yeah.
group of bad guys. Okay, let's charge at them, but one at a time. Okay, right. It's true.
But no, if it was logical, then yeah, they could basically a couple of them could jump on a Cell Junior each,
Yeah,
because that's what it is. They got Cell Juniors got the better of them in the end, but not immediately.
yeah.
Um, yeah, they held off for a little bit, and if they were double the amount, then yeah, they could have helped each other. It's very difficult to fight 2v1.
Mm.
Um, Never mind just on a power level, just the ability to fight. And I can't see the Cell Juniors being particularly skilled in martial arts, but
No.
that's just an option.
Yeah, exactly.
um,
I guess they've got
no,
the
but
DNA
again,
of everyone, similar to Cell, but
yeah,
you know, dealing with
but
maybe 10 people at a time, I don't think they would stand much chance.
yeah, but yeah, Tien completely locked up. Second form, semi-perfect cell,
Yeah.
totally locked him up. He couldn't do nothing.
Hmm.
So let's say he had 5 Tiens all standing in a circle, literally just taking a turn to blast him into the ground.
Yeah,
Like he wouldn't have passed out
it's
because they
true.
could have just took a breath while the other four are taking their turns. And so, yeah, I mean, I see where you come from in terms of how practical it is. It's
Mm.
just the fear of the abuse of power. It's like saying, like, if you know bad people are coming to burgle your house, should you give everybody a gun? It's like, is everyone responsible enough to use that gun safely? Or do some
Uh,
people say, look, I've got a gun?
we know from America specifically, that no, people won't all be responsible. And yes, there will be people who try to abuse it or go wild with it or do bad things with it, which is expected. But also, there, the majority, I would like to hope, of people are good and they would be able to stop the bad guys from going too
Yeah.
wild. Or if
I
if
think
if the humans can't, then the Saiyans 100% can stop them if needed.
just Goku going like Ultra Instinct against Terry from, you know.
Terry from down the road.
But yeah, no, like I think if there was a vetting process,
Hmm.
then yes, I would have liked for them thinking about it more, for them to look more into the Tien dojo
Hmm.
and to say more about it. It was quite an interesting idea,
Hmm.
but they probably intentionally kept it quite vague so that they didn't want people to look into that much, and they could probably maybe use it later. Because I mean, they always do Tien dirty, really. Like
Potentially.
even that episode, like he couldn't just be like, "Yeah, I'll train you." Like he had to basically have his entire dojo ruined by that angry lass.
Yeah.
It was dumb fella, but the actual dojo and everything about that was really interesting.
Hmm.
So yeah, it would be probably be nice to see a bit more of that. But yeah, in terms of actually whether or not they should, I think if a vetting process was there, then yes. Um, I think they're better suited to vetting than just generic criteria because of their ability to read good and bad key and everything like that.
Hmm.
They'd be able to more assess a person's true intentions. Um, yeah, I think that would be the only way they could probably safely do it. And they probably would have to put one or two down. That sounds really dark when I say it like that, but but yeah, the payoff would probably be worth it. And
Yeah.
there does need to be a contingency for when Earth's warriors either die by some capacity, whether that's age or defeat
Hmm.
in the fight. So yeah, I think it's a fine line to walk, but on whole, no. Specifically, yeah, probably.
Fair enough. I agree. And I guess if you're looking at the Boo saga as well, Boo would have still wiped them all out and everyone would have still died the same anyway. I don't think much would have changed there. But for Android
He'd
Saga,
just do, yeah, he'd just do what he did up on the Lookout. Literally, like he just turned everybody within half a second into candy.
yeah,
Like everybody, if as long as they're weaker than he is.
yeah.
Um,
But the Boo
yeah,
saga, I don't think would have changed too much. Android Saga, definitely. Cell would have not been an issue at all. And since the Frieza saga is all on Namek, I guess that would have all been the same as well, unless they somehow managed to transport 100 or 1,000 humans to
army.
Namek.
That would be quite cool. Just an army around them.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
suppose if Freezer can do it, why can't we?
yeah. Bulma could have
If
been
he could
busy
make more
building
spaceships,
spaceships.
Bulma could make them. It'd be fine. Didn't worry about it.
Yeah, would have been interesting. But then again, I guess all the Z Warriors didn't even go to Namek. Um,
Actually, no. I've just realised, thinking of back, what Freezer's literally did to the planet Vegeta. Wiped out an
yeah,
entire planet
yeah,
with
that's true.
one finger.
Yeah,
So, yeah, maybe not Freezer, but Cell, yeah, he was probably too arrogant. Like the amount of times, like if they'd got him in first form or
yeah.
semi-perfect,
They wouldn't have had
I
a
don't think he would have
chance.
had the power.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Cell wouldn't have had a
yeah, don't think.
chance to absorb them because the humans would have taken out 16, 17, and 18 pretty easily if there was enough of them.
Yeah, wonder how it works if those androids are in pieces. Like, is it like
Can he
Android
absorb them?
13 where he absorbs them?
Is it like a vacuum?
Would Cell just have to go around eating up general little crumbs?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. Interesting. I guess in a way
I've never thought of that till
in
this
an
second.
yeah in an alternate universe there is a load of humans with these key powers. Who knows? Like in the Tournament of Power, they say that they're not allowing the top two universes to compete. Maybe one of these
Mm,
universes has a planet full of humans who have mastered key and are ultra powerful,
yeah,
like on a level above like Krillin and Tien and Master Roshi. Like every human on the planet is this strong. Like that would be interesting. They haven't really
yeah. Or
explored
like
the other
the
two
planet.
universes.
yeah, there's like a planet full of gerunds or something like that, something
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, because like we have Jiren as like the most powerful person in the show and in the manga, I guess. And
Yeah,
who knows what these other two universes are like if they're too powerful to be in the tournament. It's quite crazy to
yeah,
think of. But
because they
they had
basically
to
thought it
do
was
it.
laughable. Yeah, it was laugh. They need to leave room for bigger bads
Yeah,
in those. So those universes are kind of the safety net.
yeah,
The bigger bads were in those universes who were too strong. So there
yeah,
are two strong things in there, and Goku's going to want to fight them. So yeah, that's their safe area to protect future law.
yeah. They had to do it, I
Yeah,
understand. But as for humans, I guess you kind of agree, kind of don't.
yeah,
And
pretty much.
yeah, I think if they did it, it would have changed a lot of the show. But overall, I don't think it's a bad idea.